were without a lot of people on offense Saturday in the spring game. And I also know you don't take a whole lot away from the spring game, but I also know you want to look sharp, you want to look precise. And I didn't think they were really either. And again, I know they were vanilla on the offense. And I know that to get a sack, all you had to do was touch the quarterback.
Sure.
So I know all those things came into play. But besides all that, two things I took away really, 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 really good on defense. Maybe the best in the country. Again, Sweeney said after the scrimmage, 7 NFL draft picks on the front line from defensive end to defensive end. And I don't disagree with that. But quarterback, DJ Uyangalele, just from my little bit of observation, did not look much different to me in terms of throwing the football than he did last year. Cade Klubnik throws a nice ball, can move around pretty well, but he is a freshman, but he's got some talent. But he needs to, I think, maybe add a few pounds here or there. I think the big concern would be DJ Uyangalele. And again, I say this knowing that I saw all of 30 minutes of him this spring, more or less, because you couldn't see practice. And what he did behind closed doors in front of the coaches might have been something totally different. He might have really been shining in those situations. I just didn't think he looked all that special Saturday, throwing to the guys that he had to throw to. Threw one interception right to Koval. They hit him right in the hands. I mean, the only guy that could catch it was the DB. So I don't know what he was looking at. I don't know. Am I making too much of it? Do you make too much of things? I happen to think you can, but there are also things that come out of a spring game that can haunt you and can carry on to the regular season.
Well, I think the quarterback play, Phil, in particular, you can take something from the spring game and apply it to what they've done throughout the past 15 practices and start moving forward. I mean, yeah, then none of the quarterbacks got hit, and I think that probably affects Kate Klubnik more so than it does DJ. But that being said, some of the throws that he made, I was not all that impressed with. It was some of the same things we saw last year. How much did he miss Will Shipley? How much did he miss Kobe Pace in terms of in the back, in the backfield? Looking at Phil Maffa, that kid has been in the weight room. I mean, he's going to be just a bulldog running up between the tackles. I think he's going to be a nice player. And Dabo Sweeney said during the broadcast, and I know you didn't get a chance to see that because you were there, but during the broadcast, how comfortable he is with any of those three. And I still think probably Will Shipley is your best option, and then you probably have Maffa and then certainly Kobe Pace right behind them. But two things I took away. First off, you're right. That defense may even be better than it was last year, and that's hard to believe. I mean, those guys up front are just incredibly talented, especially KJ Henry. I was awfully impressed with his get-off and how quickly they got into the backfield. And secondly, when Dabo Sweeney finally does hang it up, that guy needs to go to an analyst role. It was so much fun listening to him on the field, more so than anybody else in the broadcast, just from the standpoint. And I'm sure it would be the same thing if you put Shane Beamer or Kirby Smart or Nick. Well, maybe not Nick Saban because he doesn't want to talk. But you put a coach on the field and let them analyze the plays that are coming up. I mean, it was almost like Tony Romo. I mean, he's sitting there calling the plays. He knows what it is coming, and it was really enlightening listening to him talk about his team. He said. Now, again, how much is he trying to pump up DJ to avoid the inevitable backlash that coming off a bad spring game, it's time to start Kate Klubnik? How much was he trying to deflect that attention? I don't know, but he said DJ was as impressive in the spring as he has seen, and he's comfortable with him. But I'm like you. I was not overly impressed with his ability to throw the football any more than I was at the tail end of last season. Now, again, how much does that change when you put that full complement of players in the mix that they did not have because of injury during the spring remains to be seen. But I don't think one thing, and I'm sure Clemson wanted this to happen. They wanted him to look good in the spring game to try and quell some of the fan base saying, you know what, it's time to move on. This is, Cole Stout in front of Deshaun Watson. Let's get rid of Cole Stout so we can get Deshaun Watson into the mix. Same thing here. I really felt bad for DJ in some regards because I think a lot of the fan base is done with him and they're ready to move on to the next guy because the greatest job in all of professional and college sports is a backup quarterback, isn't it?
It is, especially professionally. Well, they're all professionals, but in the NFL, that level of professionalism, ask Charlie Whitehurst. You can make a ton of money holding a clipboard, and you can become quite famous as he became as a backup guy. Though he got a little sniff with the Seahawks, I think, at one time in his career. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. The Clemson offense, again, missing some major parts, missing some offensive linemen, and those who were playing were split. So you didn't have one really good group against another. They were split between the two teams. I get all that. But in just watching Uiagalelei, I just didn't see, in my limited exposure, the confident, ready to lead, on target a quarterback that people wanted to see. To me, that was the most important thing. You knew the defense was going to be good. Maybe it's even better than expected. Maybe it's going to be great once again. I know Sweeney said afterwards, I told you what he said about the guys up front. The linebackers will run like they haven't had linebackers run there in years. And he said that they've got now not only talent in their secondary, but experience in their secondary, which is something different. Now, they do have to resolve their punting situation. They had some funny things happen at punting during the ball game. You had some drop snaps. You had some shanks, etc. Place kicking looks fine. So there's a couple of questions there. We'll see what happens at quarterback spot. I mean, Sweeney made no bones about it. DJ Uiagalelei is the starting quarterback coming out of the spring. We'll hear some of his comments from after the spring game coming up a little bit later on. Pat, what you got?
Just two takeaways from the game, positive and a negative regarding DJ. One, I took solace in the fact that he did not have any of his primary weapons that he will have this fall except Joseph Ngata. So I tried to make it a point to watch how the two of them played with each other. And he was 4 of 6 on the day when targeting Joseph Ngata. And really, if you want to take it a step further, DJ's best pass of the day arguably was that touchdown pass that did not count to Joseph Ngata, which was just a beautiful ball. He put it where nobody else could catch it but Ngata, and then he, of course, did. But they then reviewed it and showed that he had been touched, so it did not count. But what was worrying me, that's a positive. The negative, though, was in particular the out routes. I don't think I saw him complete a single out route all afternoon, and they weren't even particularly close. I mean, they were either at the receiver's feet or they were well over their heads or he was throwing them out of bounds. I do realize that at least 1 or 2 of those may have been him just getting rid of the ball, so he was throwing them purposely, kind of leading them out of bounds. But that was worrisome because those weren't but 5 or 7 yard downfield passes, and he was missing those pretty badly. But again, I take solace in the fact that his one normal target, they were right in sync with each other, but nobody else was.
Phone number 888-898-2525. If you were at the Clemson spring game or you watched the Clemson spring game, love to hear from you tonight. Your take on that. Elsewhere, of course, we had the Masters wrap up with not a whole lot of drama. I think Rory McIlroy tried to give us a little drama, had a great round, but Rory's got to figure out how to do that in the first round and not the last round.
No doubt. I saw somebody over the weekend say, is he the best non-contention golfer in history? Because you're right, he played himself out of the tournaments Monday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then comes back and shoots a 64 just to get back in the mix yesterday.
Yep. And you won your bet. Okay, you won your bet. Tiger did not win the tournament. However, I will say that Tiger won the hearts of men and women and children all over the world. He might have done more for himself by not winning, but just competing and finishing.
Stop.
What?
Stop. First off, and no one else will say this, so I'm going to say this. It was miraculous from the standpoint he survived his car crash, no question. And the standpoint that he can still walk is remarkable and miraculous because obviously someone upstairs is looking after Tiger Woods. But on the flip side, how come nobody brings up the standpoint that he put himself in that position? He's the one who caused the car wreck. He was going 90 miles an hour estimate and ran himself off a cliff. And no one ever brought up and that's the thing I hate about Tiger Woods for the most part. All of his misgivings are self-inflicted. He didn't play all that well. Come on, Phil. Anybody who does not kneel at the altar of Tiger Woods could have told you before the tournament, like I did, that he was not going to be in contention. He shot his worst 2 rounds in the history of his play at the Masters on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes,
I can't
nobody's
take
saying he played well. No, nobody's
I
saying
can't.
that. I'm just saying he
I
won over
cannot.
the hearts of men, women,
Why?
and children.
Why?
Because of the dude was playing on 1 3/4 legs.
Okay.
And he gutted it out. He could have
self-inflicted though, right?
Yeah, everybody knows that. Everybody
so
knows
why
that.
why does he get credits for coming back from something he did
Because
to himself?
there are things that happen in life. Okay, it wasn't like he didn't mean to crash his car. He was speeding and he was probably looking at his phone and he drove off a cliff, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And but he managed to recover after almost having the limb amputated, and to go walk 72 holes in competition, not only 72 holes, all the holes he walked leading up to the tournament. I think he deserves a hell of a lot of credit for that, for just gutting it out. He could have just thrown in the towel and said, you know what, I can't do it.
That's what he did. He shot 78. He was never in contention. And those of us who don't worship at the altar of Tiger Woods could look at him legitimately and say he was not ready to play. Only his ego got him out there. And he did not play all that well. I mean, he finished, 49th out of 52 competitors
who made the weekend
that made the cuts?
Yeah. Okay, I give you that. He did not play well. But still, that's no reason. You've got guys who are former champions who get invited to play because they're former champions. They still have the exemption. Mm-hmm. And they routinely shoot 81, 82, Agreed. 75. They don't make
none
the
of
cut.
them.
Tiger
none
made
of them
the
get.
cut. Tiger played well enough to make the cut. Okay, now,
but none of them gets
on the weekend.
None of them gets the media attention for a guy.
And not only the greatest golfer, you can make the argument that he's the greatest golfer who ever lived, or if not the greatest, second. Mm-hmm. He's also an iconic celebrity worldwide.
But why? I know why I don't like Tiger Woods.
Is.
Why do you like Tiger Woods?
I love greatness.
I have no problem with his ability on the golf course. I respect greatness. What I do not respect is him as a person.
Well, I mean,
because
he's
one of the worst people
happened.
on the planet.
I mean, his wife went after him with the 7-iron, and he had all kind of stuff going on. I get that. I'm talking about between the ropes. Okay, I don't care.
So we should ignore everything else about him. Dealings. That he was a scumbag for the most part.
There are a lot of scumbags in professional and college sports that we all cheer for.
And if we stop
rooting for them, we wouldn't have many athletic heroes, to be quite honest with you.
And I very few, and I'm glad you brought that point up. Tiger Woods is not a hero, as Charles Barkley, famously said many years ago. Athletes are not role models, and there's no question Tiger Woods falls into that category. Tremendous golfer, horrible person.
Don't tell me who I can have hero worship for.
From the standpoint that CBS would not even put up his final score when he walked off 18, they did not flash it up on the screen because they were so embarrassed how badly he played and did not want to tell anybody. and Jim Nantz may have.
Everybody knew what the score was. All you got to do is look at
one of
25 scoreboards that are out there available to you. No, I thought it was gutsy, and I watched
totally
every possible.
Well, you had to because they showed every single shot he made.
You could go on the stream and pick out the top groups and follow them. That's what I did. And you know what? When his day was over Sunday, my interest was pretty much done as well.
And that's what's wrong with golf. You can't appreciate – you want to talk about greatness. How about Scotty Scheffler? Number 1 in the world. Went out and dominated that tournament. You can't
probably
you can't
will never win another major.
Well, from the standpoint, he's won, 4 tournaments in the last 5?
I shouldn't say that because many years ago, the very famous K-Mac uttered those same words about what's his name? Johnson.
Dustin?
Not Dustin, the other one. The guy who's going to be the Ryder Cup captain. Yeah.
Zach Johnson.
Yeah. After Zach Johnson won, I think it was the Masters, K-Mac infamously said on this very program, he'll never win another major. And, of course, he has. Mm-hmm. So I shouldn't say that. And everybody tells you Scheffler's a great, great talent, a great kid, great golfer, and all that kind of stuff. He might win a boatful, but it's golf. Look where Jordan Spieth has gone. Have you seen Jordan Spieth recently? I don't think so. So, all right, we got to hit a break. And I want to get to your phone calls. We got a lot to talk about. I went to 2 of South Carolina's baseball games. Do you realize over the weekend between the Gamecocks, Clemson, and Coastal, they were 1-8.
Yeah, we got to get into this. I want to talk about the Gamecock pitching staff, too.
8. Where have our baseball teams gone? Wofford's doing well. College of Charleston's okay. Upstate's, they've been okay, too. We'll be back. Take your calls.
The lady in black doesn't age.
We're with Major Billy Downer of DNR. Of course, South Carolina is great for the hunters, Major. What do the hunters need to remember before they get out in the fields?
It seems like every other show we're talking about hunting safety of some sort. One thing we want hunters in this state to remember is always identify your target and what lies beyond it. Make sure before you pull that trigger that you know what you're looking at. Whether it's a turkey during turkey season or a deer during deer season, you know your identifying features of your game. You know what's beyond that target in case you miss.
Learn more about the great outdoors in South Carolina with Major Billy Downer on SC Wild here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chef. You know, I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
Did they actually get snow?
I didn't see any.
Because at the opening of the broadcast, Roy Philpott was chatting about they had snow in the upstate on I guess, Saturday morning. I obviously didn't see any at the game.
Yeah, I did not see any, but I sat outside for the whole thing. All those weenies up there that cover Clemson football, with the exception of David Hood, he stayed out there for the most part. But I was the last one sitting outside. I was not going to be what's the word I'm looking for? Out frozen by anybody else. So I stayed out there the whole time. Did not go inside and watch it in the comfort of the heated indoor press box with the television. All right, phone number 888-898-2525. Did you know that since 2002, more than $999 million in lottery proceeds have been used to support K-12 programs in South Carolina? Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seducationlottery.com/educationwins. Playing for fun is a win for education. To your calls in just a second, I want to remind you of a couple of things. If you ever lose us over the air, and we hope that you don't, but if you do, and it does happen, you can, of course, follow us with our various streams on Twitter at SportsTalkSC or on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and also on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, Sports Talk Media Network. That'll take you to those locations, and you can watch us, and you can listen to us that way. Everything we do is put in podcast form within a few minutes after the conclusion of each show, and we house our podcasts at SoundCloud and Spotify, and also at Apple Podcasts. So you can find all of that there. Please take advantage of that. Love to have you go there and listen to stuff if you happen to miss a particular show. With that said, a lot of folks have been waiting, so we'll give you some notes. We'll give you our Founders Federal Notebook coming up in a couple of minutes. We go to Vern in Bishopville. Vern, how are you? Good to have you with us.
I'm doing good. How you doing?
We are doing great. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well. congratulations to Dawn Staley and her super women, women's basketball.
Are you coming in? Are you coming in for the parade on Wednesday?
No, I'm not doing that. But
are you coming in for the Darius Rucker concert to celebrate on April 24th?
No, not that either. It's something like that. But I just got a question to ask since I can't get an understanding of it. Where's the Carry-On Joyner? He's still on Carolina team?
Who is this?
The Carry-On Joyner.
Oh, yeah. He's one of their starting wide receivers right now.
Well, is he practicing spring ball?
Yes.
That's not what I understand. Anyway, I just want to ask that. I'm not going to tie you up or anything. A lot of people waiting. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. No, he's, as far as I know, he's out there. I don't think he's been on their injured list. He's been out there at practice, maybe even running a little bit at quarterback too, because of what they did against North Carolina. They probably will have a little package in there for him as well.
I bet you a very small package. You had to put it on a microscope to pick it up. But anyway.
It's a surprise package. You use it to surprise people.
Don't surprise me none. But anyway, thank you for your time and everything, and you all be blessed.
Okay, sir. You too. Yeah, by the way, USC announced today that Darius Rucker will have a concert free for students. University of South Carolina will host a free concert for its students. April 24th, CLA, Darius Rucker. So I guess that means if you're not a student, you're not going. But if you are a student, you can go, and you can go for free.
Hey, Corn, real fast, and Vern, if you're still listening, I was curious, and I do see online here, Lou Bajak reported that Joyner was out of practice this past Thursday, and it looks like his expected return is not until April 30th. So it does look like it's an undisclosed
April 30th.
injury.
They end practice Saturday.
That's what I thought, but this website shows April 30th, so take that with a grain of salt. But Lou Bajak of the reported that he was out Thursday's practice with an undisclosed injury and is still out now.
Okay. All right. But he's been practicing. He's been there. South Carolina will start Eli Jones, the freshman right-hander, against North Florida on Tuesday. As we continue with your phone calls, 888-898-2525. Tiger Bryan in Lancaster. I hope I didn't upset him too much with my analysis of the Clemson offense and the quarterback situation. Tiger Bryan, welcome in. How are you?
Man, it was so cold up there, I couldn't even drink an adult beverage.
Oh, my God.
Hey,
then what did you end up drinking?
I was trying to get a cup of coffee. It wasn't $5, so I gave $10 for a cup of coffee up there. You know, yeah, I drank Dr. Pepper and water. Yeah. But we had a good time, my little step grandbaby. She went up there through the little thing. We was right there on the side of Little John. I looked for you. I didn't see you down on the day. I seen you run up there in the booth and get in your day. I seen you run up off the field. You play that game all you want to now. I seen you. You play that game you want to now.
Well, Tiger Bryan, what'd you think of the quarterback play?
I think the little German Shepherd puppy outplayed the other boy.
The what?
Yeah. Our defense gonna be the bomb, though. Don't you think?
Defense is gonna be nasty. Nasty.
Well,
I'm gonna predict right now. I'm gonna predict right now, Tiger Bryan. This year's Clemson defense will not give up more than 10 points per game.
I'm gonna tell you
probably
something.
Not more than 225 yards per game. That's how good they're going to be.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'll guarantee you, 4 games in the season, the true freshman will be taking over DJ's job.
Well, I mean, does this have? And thank you for the phone call. I mean, does this have the same sort of scenario we've seen play out at Clemson in the past? We'll pick up on that. Continue with your phone calls. 888-898-2525. Back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. 55 degrees tonight, cool and clear. Slight wind blowing in, but no rain. Tomorrow shoots up to 85 degrees. An absolutely beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday night, 59. Enjoy the next few days because thunderstorms may make an appearance Thursday, spilling over into Friday. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
When you think about spring, good stuff springs to mind. You know, like spring break.
Woohoo!
A friend springing for drinks.
Thanks, dude.
A spring in your step. Spring fever.
Oh, behave.
And best of all, spring water dough pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Yeah, baby.
Experience the taste of spring with our amazing hand-tossed pies, spring fresh salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Enjoy spring at the Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
United We Pledge has partnered with Balance of Nature to help ensure traditional American freedoms exist for us and for future generations. United We Pledge is raising money for a second American village that will house replicas of key historic buildings and realistic portrayals of the men and women who helped shape this nation. This village will provide educational experiences for youth and families. To raise funds and bring awareness to this project, world record-holding endurance athlete Tom Jones is running 76 consecutive marathons from the original American Village in Alabama to the future home of the American Village West in Washington County, Utah. He will be powered by Balance of Nature fruits and veggies. Balance of Nature is proud to provide fruits and veggies in a Patriot Pack for a limited time to support this effort. A portion of the proceeds from each Patriot Pack will go directly to United We Pledge to help build this project. Use promo code VILLAGE to receive 35% off your first preferred order. Go to buypatriotpack.com to start your pledge to help preserve the freedoms we value.
You know what? I get asked every now and then, Kev, when you say my guy, do you really have a my guy at Palmetto Exterminators? Well, I really do. Ron Byers is my guy. Do you realize I've been a customer of Palmetto Exterminators for 20 years this summer? That's over the course of 3 homes, longer than my kids have been around. I'm loyal to Palmetto Exterminators for several reasons. First, they do a phenomenal job with pest control for a very fair price. It's just not a concern around my home. They take care of everything from regular visits to termite inspection, mosquito care. This is a company that's been around for more than 60 years serving the Midlands. When they come around, they're clean, they're courteous, and they're on time. Look, it's not just me. When it comes to things like those pesky mosquitoes, Palmetto Exterminators voted best of Columbia in Columbia Metropolitan for their mosquito control. I could have told you that before anyone even voted. What else can you possibly need from your pest control company? If you're looking for someone to help you, look no further than my guy, Ron Byers, Palmetto Exterminators. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net or call them 254-5833, 254-5833.
America's most respected prosecutors and police officers are supporting the Equal Act, a bill that will help build trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. And the Equal Act has already overwhelmingly passed the House of Representatives with a bipartisan vote of 361 to 66. Our Senator Lindsey Graham has co-sponsored the Equal Act in the Senate, putting the bill one step closer to final passage. Law enforcement and prosecutors are supporting the Equal Act because it promotes fundamental fairness and equity in the justice system. And this bipartisan legislation will strengthen community relations and improve public safety. Join us in thanking Senator Graham for standing with law enforcement and for public safety. It's time for the Senate to move our country toward a smarter, more effective justice system. It's time to pass the Equal Act into law now. Paid for by Justice Action Network.
If you're like me, you're sick and tired of seeing these old TV stars, game show hosts, these athletes telling you how to save money on your Medicare and on your health insurance. These national toll-free numbers are overwhelming us. It's not that people don't need the service. They need good local customer service, not big box toll-free numbers. See, I work directly with Tim Hanberry right here at Medicare Blueprint in the Midlands. When it comes to my family, I want the best family plan. I'm not even on Medicare, but my mom is. So here's what I do want. Someone local to serve as my advisor on the plans and choices that I have, and someone to help mom with her Medicare. I want someone to help me pick the right plan, save me as much money as possible by knowing all the rules of the game. Medicare Blueprint starts the process with you. They will see it through. They answer all your questions. They call you back. It's the same folks helping you start to finish. Tim and his team are independent. They fight for you, not the insurance company. Online, it's MedicareBlueprint.com or call them 708-7398.
Talk Media Network. Phil Corn, Luke, Chris Bergen, Pat, Dan. Good to have you with us. Hope you had a great day and a great weekend. Great week coming up. Holiday weekend. I'll be gone Friday night. We got USC spring game Saturday. Got baseball, USC, Ole Miss, Clemson, Wake Forest, and NBA playoffs cranking up. Major League Baseball,
Heritage.
of course, getting underway. RBC Heritage. I'm mad. I'm mad at them. Not them. I'm mad at the PGA.
I understand.
Mad. I mean, they won't let us. They will not let us occupy the media room again, the media tent, and do our show there, from what I've been told. So I'm not happy about that. But anyway,
I understand.
We'll get past
it's
it.
Ridiculous.
We'll get past it. I want to do a couple of quick notes and then back to our phone calls. Founders Federal Notebook. Right now, keep in mind, you can get a mortgage note as low as 3.22% at Founders Federal Credit Union. By the way, stay tuned for recruiting. Had a chance to talk to Hayden Brown today about his official to South Carolina over the weekend. So we'll tell you about that, and also got some other juicy stuff to share with you recruiting-wise. But a few other notes. Clemson will start Billy Barlow against Upstate. Upstate is not named a pitcher for their game tomorrow night. The Braves announced that USC softball will be among the stops for their World Champions Trophy Tour. Fans who attend the softball doubleheader against Furman April 20th will have an opportunity to take photos with the Braves' 2021 World Series trophy from 4 to 7 p.m. South Carolina State basketball coach Tony Madlock is now the basketball coach at Alabama State. That was announced today, and his son, who was one of the best players at South Carolina State this past season, is now in the transfer portal, John. What else do we have for you here? Besides some recruiting stuff, there was a couple of other notes I wanted to pass on to you. That's recruiting. That's all recruiting there. That's recruiting. Oh, yeah. The in-state baseball RPI through Sunday. Wofford, now number 32. Gamecocks are 60. Clemson is 62. Coastal 70. Coastal went from like 32 to 70 after being swept over the weekend. College of Charleston, 133. Upstate, 142. PC, 191. Citadel, 200. Winthrop, 206. Charleston Southern at 240. And Darlington and Goodyear announced today renewal of the entitlement sponsorship. Goodyear 400 for next month's race at Darlington. Goodyear 400, of course, will celebrate the history of stock car racing at Darlington. Oh, and we'll go more into this in recruiting, but a major Clemson target, quarterback Christopher Vezina, going to announce a commitment decision tomorrow at 4:15 Eastern time. He was at Clemson twice last week, including for the spring game, so I think the writing is probably on the wall with that announcement. And Gigi Jackson playing in Orlando at the EYBL event there. One of his games last night, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 11-14 from the floor. Earlier game, he had 15 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists. He's big time. I think you do whatever it takes. When I say whatever it takes, I mean whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I mean,
there are no rules anymore. Let's go get it.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes is what you have to do if you're listening. Whatever it takes. Our poll question of the week has to do with DJ Uiagalelei coming out of spring as Clemson starting quarterback. What do you expect for Uiagalelei for the 2022 season? The options were championship level play, A. B, big improvement from 2021. So that means improvement, but not championship level. C, about the same as last year. And D, benched after the fourth game. 50.3%, 147 votes thus far, say benched after the fourth game. 34.7%, about the same as last year. 11.6%, big improvement. 3.4% championship level. So a lot of people who are voting here don't have a lot of faith in Uiagalelei going into this season.
It's interesting you picked the fourth game, Phil, because I'm looking at their schedule, and that would be following the Wake Forest game on the road and prior to what may be one of their more difficult ACC games of the year, the home matchup against NC State. So clever on your part. Do you want to run, if you're going to bench, if you're so disappointed in what DJ has done, and you're going to bench him in favor of clearly Cade Klubnik, do you want to run him out there in a game you probably have to win your division?
You know, you give me too much credit. I mean, I didn't even look at the schedule. I just said fourth game because
no, it's a great little lead in though.
Yeah, it is. You hit on that, but that was not what I was thinking when I put that together. Okay, back to the phones we go. Appreciate your patience as we go to Hank in Columbia with us next here on Sports Talk. Hank, good to have you with us. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil.
Hey.
First thing, Phil, you know, when you talk about Deion, just a little bit, I watched the Clemson game on TV, but I did see when you watched Trevor and Deshaun came in, they were just, I mean, everything you saw them on TV, whatever, was spectacular. It wasn't like Klubnik looked all that much better than the younger lady when I watched them. It wasn't like he was some type of, oh, that's the answer type deal. Or not what I saw.
Give him a little bit of a break. Give him a little slack because, I mean, he's only been on campus for a few months and, you know, he's brand new. And he's not, you know, he's not Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think Clemson fans were sold a bill of goods on DJ Uiagalelei, okay? And not his fault. Again, he does have a father who's pretty loud about his son and maybe pushed for those star rankings and all that. And maybe out in California, he was slinging it all over the place. And with his body and his strong arm, you know, it influences those people who make those decisions. That's why I don't recognize those star rankings. I mean, he's a physically talented guy, but is he a great quarterback? And so far, the answer would be no. He could prove everybody wrong this coming season. But again, you want to see in a spring game, I think, a step forward, improvement, some real sharpness, and except for a throw or two, and Pat mentioned one of them, I couldn't agree more with Pat about the out throws. I mean, leading the receivers by 4 or 5 yards beyond what they could reach, or throwing the ball into the ground, things like that. Some of the same stuff we saw last season. You know, maybe they'll get it all worked out before they open up in Atlanta against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just saying, I watched both of it, and I was looking to see if there was going to be like a huge enough difference between him and Klubnik for him to, you know, to be a sure one that would be in the competition. But kind of both sides, they kind of look the same to me. Corin, I'm gonna come in on your side on this one though. You're your partner there. I mean, I understand if you never liked Tiger and you hated Tiger or whatever, but a guy that comes back from that type of accident, I don't care if he calls. I mean, a lot of people have accidents they cause, but to come back like that, I mean, he could have very well just gone and been in the commentating booth. He could have commentated and all that, but to come back and just, you know, get through the tournament was one thing, but also to make the cut for him was not too much of a slouch, considering you had players that have been playing on the tour, players who won, players who were able-bodied and nothing wrong with their body, who were headed home Friday night.
I agree.
And some of them,
Chris is just a hater.
All right. Let me slide in here.
He's just a
because
hater.
you're going, you know, I'm not a hater. I'm a realist. First off, Tiger being able to play was outstanding, considering what he went through. But again, my point is, and this is what I've always hated about Tiger, and it's not necessarily on him. It's the way the media treats him. I actually heard Jim Nantz on the 18th hole. On the 18th hole, the 72nd hole of the Masters, Jim Nantz actually made this comment. You know, he's got a 4-footer for par, and I'm sure he's thinking about back in 1997, this was the same putt he had to win the one for the ages. I mean, are you kidding me? He was 47 shots off the pace. He was not in contention. That's the biggest, and that has been the biggest problem I had. No one looks at the warts on Tiger Woods, and no one would treat him the same way they treat every other golfer. Tiger Woods, from a standpoint in terms of his ability, Hank, is incredible. But he should not get credit for coming back to play in an event where he was not in contention ever just because he came back from a.
You got to give him credit because you got to get if Tiger went, I could be saying what you said. If Tiger went and Tiger, let's say the first day shoots a 10, 12 over, he shoots the second day, and basically everybody knows he's only in the tournament because he was a past champion. But when you make the cut, given some of the people that went home Friday night, then you have to say he's a legitimate player. Now he didn't perform well. But the weather on Saturday, I thought he wouldn't perform well going on the weekend, especially when they talked about how cold and windy it was going to be, because he was going to need all those things to be perfect to continue to make good shots. But when you look at some of the people that did not make the cut, I mean, players who are really good right now, fully healthy, much younger than him, didn't make the cut. That just, to me, it just goes more to his ability and what he's done lifelong, and so he's always going to get that media pub, just like LeBron and basketball or Jordan.
Yep.
But again, those guys still are winning championships. LeBron not this year because the Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs.
Got another coach fired.
But should Tiger get a free pass because he came back from an accident he caused himself? I don't think so.
Think how many coaches LeBron has gotten fired over his career. If I can shift gears. 2 coaches in Cleveland, right? They fired the little short guy and they fired Mike Brown when, Tyrone, what's his name? Tyrone Lee?
Tyronn Lue. He's now the head coach of the Clippers.
Right. But I'm saying I think he got fired after coaching LeBron, and Mike Brown got fired for coaching LeBron, and now they're firing a guy that won the championship 2 years ago, who had nothing to do with, the piecing together of this crappy team they have for the Lakers.
This is number 6. So
he's had 6 coaches fired?
Yeah. About 4 in Cleveland: Paul Silas, Brendan Malone, Mike Brown, and David Blatt. And remember, David Blatt was one of the best coaches out of Europe, and he came over and didn't make.
Yep.
Anyways, then they had in L.A. Luke Walton, and now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yep, and now help me out, drawing a blank.
Him.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Current L.A. Lakers coach.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, get off the Tigers back.
I'm not going to because Hank is in the same. I want somebody to tell me why they like Tiger Woods.
I told you why I like him. I think I like greatness. That's why I love Muhammad Ali. I love people.
And Muhammad Ali.
I love people who, look, in Tiger's case, take your shots at him. But, the kid was groomed from as soon as he could walk, maybe even before, as we know his story. And he took it and he built on it and he built it and made himself into what he is today.
A tremendous golfer.
Human
no
flaws.
Question.
He has human flaws, okay? He does. I think we'd be aghast at the human flaws that Mickey Mantle had back when he was playing. People didn't know it back then because reporters protected him, but he had many.
Much like the people are protecting Tiger now.
Well, but people.
The media protects Tiger Woods, and there's no question. You can't argue that point, Phil.
Everything about him's been out.
Did anybody this weekend, when they talked about how remarkable it was that he was playing, ask him, Tiger, you going to apologize for what you did when you ran your car off a cliff going 90 miles an hour?
But to himself.
Okay, but if you and I went on
anybody else, he apologized for what he did with his
family
and his wife.
Oh, that he did.
Yeah,
he
didn't
never apologized.
You don't have to apologize. If you want to apologize to your fans for injuring yourself and not being, who's worse, Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods in your mind?
Tiger Woods. It's not even close. It's not even close in terms of person. Are you going to compare what Tiger Woods has done?
Are you giving Phil a pass?
For?
Siding with the Saudis, even though, as he admitted, that they kill people and they behead journalists and they're horrible people.
He didn't side with the Saudis.
He was going to take their money, and he wanted people to go, and he took shots at the PGA Tour where he's made uber millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars over the years.
How about Phil's insider trading back in 2014, 2015 as well, where he repaid millions and millions of dollars?
Sure.
He's hurt other people.
How much money is Tiger taking from Nike?
He's hurt other people. Tiger hurt himself, and Tiger hurt his family. Outside of that, I don't think Tiger's hurt anybody. except with his clubs by beating their brains out, All right, we got to hit a break, and we'll come back with more. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number here on Sports Talk. We're going to hear from Dabo Sweeney. John Kosis from the Fireflies joins us for his baseball Monday night meeting with us. They opened up with a sensational win on Friday. Then they lost 2 over the weekend. But we'll talk about the Fireflies and some minor league baseball with John coming up as well. We'll continue with your phone calls, too. Oh, yeah, and that very meaty recruiting report, too. Be right back.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Losses, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dream. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to FutureScholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. FutureScholar.com.
The lady in black doesn't age.
Is that what you're saying?
I'd go with him.
You wouldn't trust him walking your dog, huh?
I wouldn't trust Tiger Woods walk me across the street. He's a bad dude. He's a great golfer. He's a bad person. Both of those things can be true.
All right. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. As we head to Alex in Myrtle Beach. Next up, Alex, welcome in. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. Another great show. So,
thank you.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I always feel about setting. I'm sitting here at Warburg Park in Myrtle Beach, looking at the airport, watching the planes take off. I don't like to tell people because so many people are moving here, but it's beautiful here. But I know, as always, I listen to the show on the break, and I end up talking about something I didn't want to talk about. But I do want to talk about Yongeles from Clemson. Quickly about the Masters and Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods does hold a green jacket and makes him a member. He knows how many people will watch the telecast if he's in it, including me. And I'm like your comrade there who, is not a big Tiger Woods fan. But I end up watching the show. I download the CBS app. And I won't probably watch it again because I listen to your show. But I did see Rory McIlroy make that, that birdie, and I saw also who's the other guy? The other guy made a birdie out of the sand. So I saw that. Had Tiger Woods not been playing, I wouldn't have seen that. And Tiger Woods knows. And I saw him hobbling, and I know Tiger Woods done some very bad things. I think Tiger Woods, as a member, knows how many people will watch that show if he's in the hunt. Now, the second thing quickly is about baseball. Gamecock. I listen to Gamecock show. I love listening to Gamecock baseball on the radio. That's what I do. If I'm not doing anything else, Gamecock show on, I'm listening to it if I'm not working. And two of the Florida, one starting pitcher, and I think the other was, I think both pitchers, another was a shortstop. So two of their starting players went to Florida graduates, and we went to the portal. It's aptly named Portal John. Two of the Florida starting players went to the University. Two of the Georgia players went to the University of Florida, and it's whatever happened to the world's biggest cocktail party and the royalty.
I mean, are
Yeah,
you talking
I want to talk
about?
about.
Are you talking about the two big offensive linemen who just entered the portal, John, from Georgia?
No, I'm talking about baseball. I was in baseball as a tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, and two of the starting players from Georgia. I think one was a pitcher in the starting rotation. I don't know about two of them. Two starting players were from the University of Florida who are now playing for Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you went sport. You spent 4 years in Florida. Go Gators! I mean, whatever happened to the loyalty, I don't know. So you're aptly named. You should, get that, that nickname, Porta John, with a patent on it. But anyway, about Yongole, I'm a Gamecock fan. Don't get me wrong. But I spent 4 years of my life in Southern California as a surfer. And I'm a big Dodgers fan back then, Dusty Baker and all those guys. Loved them all. Southern Cal football. But to me, and that Yongole is what I see, and I remember seeing, like, before his first game, they put out these, like, videos of him where he went to high school. And I can tell you, with Yongole, I just don't see a fire in the belly. I don't see sort of like Terry Bradshaw. Maybe Terry Bradshaw had it kind of good coming up. I think he was from up north too, northeast. But he had, he had who's that running back who was in Vietnam? He had Mike Webster playing for him. And he rallied these people around him. Yongole, I just don't see a fire in the belly. And I remember a lot of the players who got recruited to Southern Cal and UCLA, they grew up in places like Compton and other areas. And there's nothing against Yongole. I just don't see a fire in the belly. But I'm going to hang up. Love your show. Take care. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much. I thought Terry Bradshaw's from Louisiana. Went to Louisiana Tech. I think he grew up in Louisiana. Not mistaken. Let me say this just to kind of roll off of what you're saying there, not so much about whether there's a fire in the belly and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't want to draw too much of a conclusion from a spring game. And we know we've already stated how great Clemson's defense will be. But is this the year when South Carolina ends the streak against Clemson? When you look at this South Carolina team, because they're going to be pretty good on defense. And they've got a quarterback more highly touted than Clemson's quarterback in Spencer Rattler. I mean, this was a guy that was one of the 3 favorites for the Heisman going into last season. And they've got running backs that I think are on par with Clemson's. They've got receivers that aren't quite as good as Clemson's group, but I think they've improved with transfers. They've got an individual in Jaheim Bell who's as good as any tight end that Clemson has, so they play him at tight end or wide receiver. Offensive line probably give Clemson the overall edge there, but South Carolina's offensive line is older and experienced, having been together now going on 2 full years with the same offensive line coach. Maybe that is closer than it has been. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud after being at that spring game. Is this going to be the year South Carolina ends the streak?
I don't know. I would think Clemson still is probably a touchdown, if not more, favorite. As we said it now. Plus, you have to remember that game's up at Clemson, so that's going to be a huge advantage for them. But you brought up an interesting point about the offensive line, and your takeaway from watching in person, Will Putnam at center now for the Tigers. You like that move for them?
Yes, I do. I think that, and according to Dabo Swinney, he's handled it extremely well, and it allows them to plug in at right guard and not really disrupt the entire offensive line as they were having to do last year. Remember how they were having to move everybody around to make up for it. But with Putnam at center, now you got Mitchell Mays at right guard, Marcus Tate at left guard, McFadden and Parks are your tackles. But they're really high on Blake Miller. They think he's going to be an immediate contributor as a freshman, and really high on Colin Sadler, who I think can also play inside as well as a tackle spot. But I'm thinking inside for him, and Tristan Lee apparently has come on to give him some good work at left tackle. All right, top of the hour.
Before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. President Biden has unveiled a new effort to crack down on so-called ghost guns.
The weapons are privately made firearms without serial numbers, and they're increasingly cropping up in violent crimes. During a White House event, the president highlighted the Justice Department's work to finalize new regulations to crack down on the guns. He also announced the nomination of Steve Dettelbach to run the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Both the nomination and the new gun rules are likely to run into opposition in Congress, which has been deadlocked on the issue for years. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Pacific Gas and Electric has agreed to pay more than $55 million to avoid criminal prosecution for two major wildfires in Northern California.
In agreeing to the settlements, PG&E admits no wrongdoing in either the 2019 Kincaid fire in Sonoma County or last year's Dixie fire, which spanned 5 counties, though both were started by its aging power lines. In addition to paying the $55 million, PG&E will submit to 5 years of oversight by an independent monitor. The company has been blamed for more than 30 wildfires since 2017. Those fires have destroyed more than 23,000 homes and businesses and killed more than 100 people. I'm Ben Thomas.
Philadelphia has become the first major U.S. city to reinstate its indoor mask mandate after reporting a sharp increase in coronavirus infections. The city's top health official said Monday she wants to forestall a potential new wave driven by the Omicron subvariant. Dr. Cheryl Bettigol says that COVID-19 cases in the city have risen more than 50% in 10 days. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 413 points. The Nasdaq dropped 299. The S&P 500 lower by 75. More on these stories at townhall.com.
According to the World Gold Council, while demand for gold is surging, 72% of people reply they lack the necessary know-how to do so. Hi, my name's Adam Barata, owner of Advantage Gold, hands down the highest-rated gold dealer in the country. The reason? We lead with education. We've taught millions of investors how to buy gold safely and securely, and our in-depth gold guide explains everything you need to know. From what type of metals to consider, if an IRA or cash transaction is best, and how you can be certain that the gold you're buying is authentic, certified, and real. Call 800-900-8000 now and get our #1 rated first-time gold buyer's kit. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the information you need to secure your future. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000 today.
A plea from an Arab-Israeli member of Israel's government gets some pushback. The latest from the Media Line's Felice Friedson.
The leader of Arab Israelis' parliamentary contingent drew negative reactions from across the political spectrum when he urged Arabs who serve in Israel's security services to lay down their weapons and return to their people. It comes as tension soars from almost daily armed attacks on Israeli civilians and Israel's security echelon conducting arrest raids to preempt further violence. Member of Parliament Ayman Odeh, chairman of the Arab List parties, has come under criticism from a broad range of politicians, many of whom who view the small percentage of Arabs who serve in security units as a source of pride and sign of coexistence. An investigation of Odeh has been initiated. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. 55 degrees tonight, cool and clear. Slight wind blowing in, but no rain. Tomorrow shoots up to 85 degrees. An absolutely beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday night, 59. Enjoy the next few days because thunderstorms may make an appearance Thursday, spilling over into Friday. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DM.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The
Please
Point.
press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2000. 2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, coming up, we've got some comments from Dabo Sweeney. Got a lot in recruiting for you. John Kosas from the Fireflies and Greg Atkins, USC offensive line coach. Some comments from him. Going to try and squeeze all that in. Plus some more of your phone calls. 888-898-2525 is the phone number. We go back to the phones. We go to Bruce in Columbia. Next with us. Bruce, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Phil, thanks for taking my call tonight.
Yes, sir.
Give you a little tidbit about Terry Bradshaw, the guy that owned Duck Dynasty. Remember that guy?
Yes, sir.
He was the head quarterback for Louisiana Tech when what's his name was on the team. He never Bradshaw never saw the field while he was quarterbacking.
I did. Wait a minute. You mean at one point he did?
Phil
Eventually
Robertson
he became
was a stud.
Oh, was he really?
No.
Yes, he was a really good player. The only reason he did not go into the NFL is because he was, at least the story goes, he was big into hunting, and the fall season cut into his hunting time.
Really?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
His numbers retired. Both of their numbers were actually retired by Louisiana Tech.
Yep, but still, he was a fantastic quarterback. I didn't see him play. I went to Louisiana Tech. That's how I know about it. Anyway, I'd like to congratulate the women's basketball team for Carolina winning the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
They deserved it. But I'm still kind of sore about the calling of the games, especially the game between Louisville and South Carolina. Now, the girl that got fouled out, I had been watching her all season long. She never fouled out. She never had 4 fouls on her in a game. and she fouled out in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I think the women's playoff, especially the final 2 games, should have been had more time to recuperate than they did. I think it'd have been a better, games as well. But I think they were all burnt out in the short time they had to recuperate.
Well, I mean, they have the same amount of time as the men do. They played Friday, Sunday. The men played Saturday, Monday.
No, they had a short time to get in there and recuperate. So they were on the move the whole time.
No, it's the same time.
Same time frame.
Well,
Friday, Sunday, Saturday, Monday.
At UConn.
I don't know. I mean, but they played on Friday night. They had Saturday off. They played Sunday night. The men played on Saturday night. They had Sunday off and played on Monday night.
No, there was a week between the finals and the last game, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, the men's Elite Eight wrapped up on the previous Saturday, Sunday, and the women's Elite Eight also wrapped up. Well, I take that back. Yeah. Connecticut won on a Monday night, but they do that for television. So,
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But still, that's plenty. They had plenty of time.
Now, another point is that UConn had to go through 3 number 1 teams, ranked teams, to win the national championship. How many did Carolina have to go through? 1.
Well, I mean, first of all, you mean number 1 seeds. Yeah, South Carolina's draw turned out for them. I mean, look, who could predict Creighton beating Iowa, all right, in the second round? Nobody saw that coming. That's what people were, I'm sure the committee was hoping to set up a South Carolina-Iowa matchup there in Greensboro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Iowa got upset, so, that's the way it goes in the tournament. You play who's next up in front of you, and
you're good.
But you can't take anything away from South Carolina. I mean, they were dominant. They played all these ranked teams during the season. They were ranked number 1 at the start. They were ranked number 1 at the end. They won the tournament. They beat everybody to a pulp in the tournament. So they were clearly, on paper and on the court, the best team in the country. And they will be next year, clearly, on paper and on the court, the best team in the country. Only team that can beat them is them. I mean, there's nobody else. They just added a great player from Georgia Tech as a transfer. Saxon is coming back. So, they're going to be right there again next year. So, thank you. Appreciate the phone call. 888-898-2525 is the phone number.
Well, let me slide in one other thing before we move on to Bruce's call. I mean, if you're going to criticize the Gamecocks for not having to go through the tournament facing number one seeds, well, first off, they were the number one overall seed, so they're not going to play anybody else. And they played Louisville, who was the number one seed in the semis. And secondly, the reason they had earned that right to be the number one overall seed was the amount of top-ranked teams they played during the regular season. And they steeled themselves during the regular season. You get that luxury during the postseason if you're as good as they were during the regular season. UConn just was not all that good during the regular season, and that's why they ended up as a 2 seed.
Well, remember, they played without Beckers for, what, half a season? She missed about half a season.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and they'll be back. They'll be back.
Oh, no
but,
doubt.
I mean, I think right now the best players in the country, unless they're from up UConn way and have some sort of tie or they are tied to a school in their neighborhood, best players in the country want to play for Dawn Staley.
No doubt.
I mean, you can't twist that any other way. Best players in the country want to play for Dawn Staley. Oh, by the way, Wildens Levesque announced just a little while ago he's going to UMass, where he will rejoin Frank Martin, and Taquan Woodley is up there as well. So they're going to stay with their coach and go to UMass, see how that works out for them up there. Quickly, because we want to get to Dabo Sweeney here coming up, John Kosis, we got recruiting, got a lot to do here. We go to Joe. Nope. We go to Andy in Columbia. Andy, welcome in. How are you?
Happy Monday there, fellas.
Yes, sir. How is the world treating you? Let me just take a real quick. Hang on before you say anything. I just want to take a quick, here it is early April, but look at you. You're 3-1 and we're 2-1. Baseball in the Big Apple off to a good start.
Yeah. Other than having our batters' heads thrown at multiple times this weekend.
Well, that's because y'all got big heads.
Well, I think 19 times since the beginning of last year, the Nationals have hit a Met player.
That sounds like the Red Sox hitting the Yankees all the time.
19 times.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you deserved it.
Yeah. Well, it was nice watching Buck Showalter kind of manage a team a little bit better than what we've had in the past. So,
well, that's one thing I do not like. I love Buck Showalter and loved him when he was a Yankees manager. Thought he got a raw deal there. So it's going to reduce my dislike for the Mets a little bit because I do like him.
Yeah, I still hate your Yankees, so whatever. Calling about what Bruce called about, number one, Bruce, 3 out of the past 4 games that South Carolina and Connecticut have played have been won by South Carolina. South Carolina also beat Connecticut this year during the regular season with Miss Becker's buckets playing in that tournament down in the Virgin Islands. South Carolina also this year beat every number one seed team other than Louisville in the regular season, and then beat Louisville in the semifinals. They also had beaten the top-ranked number 2 seeded team, which was his University of Connecticut Huskies. So, I mean, I don't know what he's sitting here crying about, that his team did this and didn't have enough time for this or that. I mean, it's all part of basketball, and that's what it is. The truth is, this year South Carolina had a much superior team to Connecticut, and it showed on the court. Their defense, South Carolina's defense was unbelievable this year. Becker, number one, had 14 points in that semifinal, in that final game? 9 of them, though, were scored in the second quarter. So you realize you went 3 quarters and scored 5 points.
Their defense was suffocating. They just shut people down. They made a commitment at some point there to just really become a great defensive team, and they showed it, especially when they hit the postseason. But, I mean, I think we saw it here and there during the regular season, too. I mean, they made some teams just look like elementary teams the way they shut them down.
And a young lady from Louisville might have gotten so many fouls because she's never played against such a high-powered offensive inside game as South Carolina has with their tall players. And, Miss Saxton, who's coming back. As you couldn't pronounce her name the other day, so just refer to her as V.
I said it right the other day. I don't know what y'all were hearing. I said Victoria Saxton. I couldn't say it more clear.
Okay, if that's what you said.
Go back and play the tape. Go back and play the tape. All right, we got to go. Thank you for the phone call.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too,
fellas.
buddy. Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. 888. Enjoy your matzah and your gyrosis and your gefilte fish. I went ahead and started early. I had gefilte fish and horseradish and matzah today. So I'm getting in the mood.
Nice.
Getting in the mood, yeah.
Unleavened bread too?
Matzah.
Okay.
That is. I didn't say Mazda. I said matzah. That is the unleavened. Unleavened. It's the saltine cracker without the salt, basically.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
All right, got to hit a break and come back with Dabo Sweeney from the Tigers spring game on Saturday. And, of course, with Dabo, there are no warts. There are no blemishes. They're all great.
I tell you, though, he was outstanding in terms of on-field analyst. He was really, really good.
Well,
so if he ever gets tired of
coaching. Maybe some Clemson fans want him to go ahead and take that step. I'm just kidding. I don't think so, not yet. We'll be right back.
Sports fans, are you in it to win it? Join South Carolina's fight against COVID-19 by getting your vaccine today. Vaccines are safe and will help stabilize school operations by bringing us back together safely. The CDC recommends everyone 5 years and older get vaccinated. Visit scdhec.gov/VaxLocator or call 866-365-8110 to find a vaccination station near you.
Show your team pride wherever you go with Founders Federal Credit Union's collegiate debit cards. Get your University of South Carolina and Clemson University debit cards at any Founders office or by calling 1-800-845-1614. Plus, our debit cards are digital wallet ready, so you can pay however you please. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
All right, loads of recruiting coming up for you in just a little bit. Stay tuned for that. Saturday was Orange and White Day up at Clemson. Spring game for the Tigers. They put the wraps on their spring practice for this year. And they did so, of course, with about 17 scholarship players out. Many of those on the offense, offensive line, running backs, tight ends, receivers, across the board. They were really missing some players. Defense had, I think, most of their top players, maybe some in the secondary. Well, of course, Bresci didn't play. And I think a couple of other mainstay defensive players did not play. Bresci, I guess, being one of them. When you throw Bresci in there to that defensive line, yeah, and I mean, I'm telling you, it's scary. It's scary how good they will be,
no doubt.
So here's Dabo Sweeney as we got to talk to him after about an hour waiting outside in the cold and the wind. He finally came out. We did a group session with him. Here's Dabo Sweeney addressing the media after the spring game.
Enjoyed the game. I think we got done what we needed to get done. Some of the guys that we needed to kind of see and really just get them some experience. Really appreciate our fans creating a good environment for us. That's always important. We don't get this opportunity very often. We don't get a chance to create a preseason atmosphere or anything like that. So to be able to come out here and expose some of these kids, the best thing is to be exposed and gain experience. And so we had some guys get that today. It was tough conditions, but a lot of fun. A lot of fun to see them, handle their business and finish spring in a good way. We got better this spring. We got a lot to do. First and foremost, getting a lot of people healthy. Obviously didn't have a lot of guys out there playing today, but we made it work. We put 11 out there so we could, again, get everybody evaluated and could play. But very incomplete team today. But when we get back going in August, you know, we've got a chance to be a really good football team if we'll do what we need to do this summer. And so proud of the guys, proud of the work. We had one guy get banged up today in Dakari, but nothing serious. So he'll be sore for a few days, but he should be ready to roll when we get back training this summer. So thankful for that. Adam Randall had good surgery, and he was out here today. But appreciate our fans. A bunch of former players back today. That was fun. You knew the orange team was going to the kiss of death when Christian picked them. So you just knew that was just karma and inevitable. But you know, obviously disappointed with the drop punt snaps. So again, you know, to put some pressure on these guys. You know, we've got some work to do there to grow up and get better there. And you know, we jumped offside a couple times, had some penalties, and had some guys playing maybe out of position a little bit. But again, the guys that we think are going to be dominant players, they've been what we need all spring. And then the guys that we need to really mature and grow and get better, we were able to do that this spring. We got a bunch of guys that aren't where they need to be, and we've got to close that gap between now and August. That's what, as we call the transformation phase, that's what that's all about. And we'll start that on Monday. And, you know, look forward to getting back together, watching them grind through the summer, getting all these guys back fully healthy. And you know, when we put it together, I think, you know, we've got a chance to be another good football team around here.
Did Youngulain make enough of strides in the spring so you can rest easy over the summer about that position?
Oh yeah. I rest real easy on that position. I love the guys that we have there. You know, Billy Wiles and Hunter Helms as well. I mean, I love all four of those guys. And, you know, we've got Trent Pearman coming in to join the group. Hunter Johnson will be starting here summer one. He'll be out there as well. So this is as good a room as we've had at quarterback in a long time. Once we get everybody here, you know, in 2018, we won it all, and Hunter Renfro was our third team quarterback. You know, we had Trevor and Chase Bryce, redshirt freshman, and Hunter Renfro, and the fourth team was Will Spires. So we're going to have a lot of functional guys in that room that, you know, I know will be ready if we need them. But, you know, I'm proud of those guys, proud of DJ. You know, he definitely, you know, again, we're missing a lot of pieces, but he had a good spring and did what he needed to do to give himself some momentum going into summer from a totality standpoint. And same thing with Cade. I mean, man, a lot to learn this spring and to be able to come out here and really get a good foundation and same thing to play in an environment where you can, you know, not hyperventilate. You know, first time you get in this environment, you can have a little bit of something to draw on. So, you know, it's a good room, and you know, have good leadership, good people, just good people. There's just not a better group of young men out there than what we got in that quarterback room. DJ's definitely our starter. You know, he's had a great spring. He's not done anything to not be the starter. You know, Cade is a really talented player. I mean, we got two guys I think can win at a high level, just like when Trevor and DJ were coming out of the spring. You know, so it's not often that you can say that, but I've seen enough for both those guys to know that. And so it's a good situation.
What do you take away from the spring about your defense when you plug in everybody that's going to be healthy? How good can this unit be?
Yeah, it can be really good. They can be as good as they want to be. They'll have, you know, the type of depth that gives you a little bit of room for error. But I think we've got a chance to be a special group in the defensive line. And we're going to be fast and athletic at linebacker. And I think we're going to finally have some great experience in the secondary. You know, it's just a matter of getting everybody back. And as you saw today, you didn't get to see Jaden Lucas, but I did. And we hit on him. He's a home run. And then you saw Toriano Pride. You saw Koval. You saw, you know, Nate, who was a true freshman last year. So I really like the guy. Sheridan had a great spring, and we shut him down, you know, this last part. You know, we got to get him, you know, 100%. But he got most of the spring in, which was good. Malcolm Green is progressing well to get back healthy. Fred Davis has been able to. He's only had 5 practices all spring, but it was good for him to be able to get back out there as well. So it's going to be a good group of corners. Miles Oliver joined the group this summer, and but that safety group is a very experienced, savvy group, and so I think all 3 levels will have experience and talent and depth, and it's not always the case that you have that. So, but it's going to start with those guys up front. I mean, I think we got 7 guys that'll get drafted this time next year, so it'll start right there. And if those guys handle their business, and those young guys behind them, you didn't see Brissy out here today, you didn't see Trey Williams out here today, but if those young guys will handle their business, it's going to be a deep group that can lead the way for us. But they're only as good as the guys around them too, and but I think all 3 levels, we're going to have guys that can get it done.
There you go, Dabo Swinney. Some of what he had to say following the spring game on Saturday. All of it's on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. If you want to check it out, it's also up in podcast form as well, where we put our podcast. You can get it there. So, Chris, Dabo Swinney always extremely positive about his team and about his players, and such was the case after the spring game Saturday, and reason to be. Look, they have recruited so well; they still have talented players across the board. But if they don't refine themselves at quarterback, then they'll be stuck in the mud. They were 100th in the nation in total offense last season at 359 yards per game. That is not Clemson football.
No, it's not. And it attributes itself, I think, to the quarterback play, but also, Phil, the amount of injuries they had on the offensive line that we alluded to earlier. They had to shuffle around. If they can get a stable core up front, and DJ comes along, and I think we all believe he will, there's a lot of talent there. He would not have been recruited to Clemson if he didn't know how to throw a football more than 10 yards down the field. Mm-hmm. And if not, there's a situation like we're dealing with our poll question right now as to whether or not he'll get replaced. But one thing I found interesting, and this is on the other side of the football where Clemson has no warts at all, was he was asked, Dabo was during the spring game broadcast on the ACC network about Wes Goodwin. And can he take over? And he said the one big difference between Wes Goodwin, Tiger fans are going to see immediately, versus Brent Venables is Brent, used to get 20 yards onto the field and have to be pulled back. He said Wes Goodwin's not that kind of guy. He's a very cerebral type guy. He's a very intelligent coach, but he runs a similar system. And I think you saw it on Saturday. Phil, I don't know that you're that far off when you talked about the Tigers only allowing about 10 points a game next year. They only gave up 14 last year a game, and they could be better. In Georgia, the best scoring defense in the country last year, gave up about 11. So even in the modern era of college football, you can win a lot of ball games if you only give up less than 2 touchdowns a contest. And with what Clemson has defensively and their linebacking core, I thought Jeremiah Trotter played really, really well. They talked a lot about those linebackers and how athletic they are. Clemson's going to be really, really difficult to move the football on, and it may not matter. If they get to 20, 24 points a game offensively with that defense, that may be enough.
Yeah. I look at their group. It's ridiculous what they have at defensive end. Xavier Thomas, Justin Maskell, KJ Henry, Miles Murphy. They've moved Kevin Swint over there. You've got Cade Denhoff, who was heavily recruited, Greg Williams from here in South Carolina. Inside, of course, Davis and Bressy. Tyler Davis and Bressy are probably maybe the best tandem in the country. You throw Trey Williams in there, Rook Ororo in there.
Nice. How do you run the ball on those guys is my question.
Rook Ororo. Yeah, throw Edenusa Rubin. They said Capehart had an excellent spring as well. Your linebackers, Simpson, Trotter, and Carter. They are great runners. You're going to see, while the previous guys made a lot of tackles and were very physical, you might see more tackles even behind the line of scrimmage with these 3 than what you got with some of the previous linebackers, just because they're faster. And then your secondary, Jones and Davis, Wiggins, Jaden Lucas didn't play in the spring because of injury, but Sweeney said he is the real deal. They're loaded back there. Be right back.
On-point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. 55 degrees tonight, cool and clear. Slight wind blowing in, but no rain. Tomorrow shoots up to 85 degrees. An absolutely beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday night, 59. Enjoy the next few days because thunderstorms may make an appearance Thursday, spilling over into Friday. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Do you need to start or complete your COVID-19 vaccination or booster process? Come to PALS Inc. for free COVID-19 vaccines. Our staff of professionals will answer your questions and help you every step of the way. Vaccines help prevent severe illness and death from COVID. Call 779-7257 to make an appointment. Do it for yourself, your family, your job, and all the plans you have this year. Call 779-7257 for your vaccine appointment. We can even help you with transportation. Contact PALS Inc. today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'll tell you, I'm a tough case. I am 91 years old, and I'm amazed. That's why I'm doubling my order. I tried about 30 different supplements, and this is the most amazing product I have ever tried. I am very delighted with it. You may give me another 10 years on this earth. It's a miracle for me.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code BALANCE.
When it comes to firearms, ammunition, and accessories, some things are changing. Well, fortunately, some things haven't changed a bit. I'm talking all about Shooter's Choice in West Columbia. What has never and will never change is the customer service. Top notch with the staff that has decades of experience in the firearms industry. This staff actually hunts and shoots regularly. For over 30 years, Shooter's Choice has never lost that hometown feel and never felt like shopping at some big box store. What has changed? Well, technology. If you'd rather spend your money on firearms than gas, go online to shooterschoicesc.com and check out a great website that's easy to navigate 24/7. Be the first to get items as they are received at the store. Be the first to get that newest production model ordered before it even enters the retail store. Come pick it up at your convenience. Sign up for notifications of new products and special inventory. It's all at shooterschoicesc.com. So come on in and see the team at Shooter's Choice, 944 Sunset Boulevard, or visit online. Either way, you'll see what I'm talking about. Make your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Everyone knows that here at The Point, we are all about supporting local businesses. We are all about local, local, local. You cannot get more local than my friend Greg McCoy and his business, Simplified Mortgage Solutions. Fran Halloran here. If you're buying a home or you're looking to refinance your current home, you owe it to yourself to call Greg. He is the real deal. You can expect Greg to treat you like you are his only client. You can expect Greg to scour the market to find you the best rate available. You can expect Greg to charge you a fair price for his work and his service. Why would you deal with some national company headquartered in who knows where when you can do business with Greg? Need further persuasion? Okay, I didn't even mention the good Greg does in our community by supporting local charities like Blue Star Mothers and Camp Chemo. Come on, you need to call Greg. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com, or you can call Greg at 803-722-6044. That's 722-6044.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Aiken-Cochran. As Miss America, I know that taking care of yourself is important. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. Brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Pena. Good night and good luck, Columbia Fireflies. That's the ball game.
That's how it sounded on Friday night as the Columbia Fireflies opened their season in Columbia with a walk-off victory over Augusta, and then they lost the next two. But you know what? That good feeling of that season opening game just carries on for several days. John Kosis, the voice of the Fireflies, joining us here on our Fireflies report on this Monday night on Sports Talk. John, had to be quite a thrill on Friday night to see that game end the way it did.
Yeah, Phil. I mean, when I think of great moments of baseball that I've seen over my course of 5 years in baseball, that walk-off home run is certainly top 5, and I'd be willing to say it's competing with Darryl Collins' walk-off grand slam from last year for the top 1. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing just great, thank you. How would you gauge the opening weekend of play for your guys, being at home, the crowds, the performance? What'd you take away?
Well, we'll do a compliment sandwich here. I think the bats are very good. You know, Eric Pena is as advertised. You heard it just a second ago with the walk-off home run, and he has 3 hits in the 7th inning or later in his first 3 games played. Carter Jensen certainly has the pop that was advertised when he was picked in the 3rd round, and Darryl Collins has gotten back to his typical swing. He's not trying to pull everything and do too much, and as a result, Collins hitting over 400 and has 3 doubles already this season out of 5 total hits. So doing a good job of using all parts of the field. Now, on the other side, pitching, not too great so far, but a lot of young players. And when you got a lot of young players, it's going to take a while for them to get acclimated to pro ball and getting used to having to sequence better, because guys can hit your best stuff like they don't necessarily have the ability in college or at the lower levels. So they're going to learn as the season progresses how to sequence better. I think the pitching will come there. The stuff's there. The results just weren't this week. But to kind of close out on a positive note, the back part of this pen can be very good. Jack Aldrich, Luis Barosa, and John McMillan, all guys who throw upper 90s, all guys who had a scoreless outing in relief for the Fireflies this last weekend. So there's a lot of potential on this team.
John Kosis with us tonight, the voice of the Columbia Fireflies, each and every week, our Fireflies report. And John, now that we've gotten through a weekend to open the season, what are you seeing different, similar, maybe oddball, or certainly sort of the managerial style of Tony Pena Jr.? Have we settled into what we can expect from him all season long?
I think Tony Pena matches the Royals feel perfectly in that he loves to run and gun the guys. We're seeing guys get on first base, and I mean, Omar Hernandez had a steal this last weekend. So whenever a catcher has a steal, you know guys are happy to have them pull the trigger.
Is that something you anticipate continuing? Is this a team that can continue to run the bases the way they did over the weekend?
Yeah, I really think it is. I don't think we're going to have a 50-base stealer like Tyler Tolbert last year, but I think there's enough speed where we might see 3, maybe 4 guys on this team that have the potential to steal at least 20 bags.
John, one thing that you guys were chatting about last week during your media day was the opportunity to have fans come back to the ballpark in droves and have to worry about social distancing and the like that you've dealt with the past couple of seasons. How were the crowds this weekend, and how excited was the team to be able to look up in the stands and see more faces than empty seats?
Yeah, it was awesome, especially on Friday night. We had 6,186 people at Segra Park, and that is more than we had at any point last year, again, because the restrictions last year limited us to, I think it was 5,000 flat. So it was nice to open those things up and then see, a minimum of 1,000 more fans than we had. And then Sunday was really fun as well. Saturday with the cold temperatures, it kind of put a little bit of a hush on a walk-up. But it was a lot of fun on Sunday to go out there and see everyone running the bases afterwards. I don't think I've ever seen that many kids running the bases, although I've only been in Columbia for 2 of those. In September last year, we were allowed to have them on the field after the game.
Visiting with John Kosis of the Columbia Fireflies, what'd you see and hear around the Carolina League on this opening weekend? Anything in particular jump out at you?
Well, I think Charleston's for real again is what I saw. And, I mean, they've got an incredible outfield with Drew Baker, their 4th-round pick of the Tampa Bay Rays, and Mason Auer. Baker, 5 for 10, a home run, 4 ribbies, and 3 walks. That's a .615 on base percentage. And then Mason Auer, 5 for 8, 2 doubles, and a triple. In his career, he's got a .429 on base percentage. It's a small sample size, only 15 career games between this year and last year. But the River Dogs were the class of the league last year, and Tampa Bay has another special team. That's who Columbia is playing Tuesday through Sunday. So we'll get to see them a first chance here this week, and I really think it'll be a good litmus test for this team, their opportunity to see where they stand amongst a team that's probably going to be competing for the playoffs.
These extended road trips, is this something new for this year, or has this been something in minor league baseball in recent past?
Just this year and last year. They did it last year because of the contact issues that they were having. So they figured if it's 1 week at a time and someone gets contact traced, it's not multiple teams being affected. Well, that was kind of their goal with last year. But then when they went forward and made the schedule for this year, with still some COVID concerns because they were making it in the fall, they also said, this makes things really simple for travel. It helps the scouts out a lot for when they're trying to go to each different town. And then I think a lot of the teams prefer it because every single time you're home, you have those games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you aren't being stuck with a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday homestand where most of your crowd can't come out there.
Yeah. And what does the pitching look like for you going into this series? I mean, do they feel like they've got enough quality arms to go up front, and or for that matter, how deep will they go into their bullpen in trying to handle the pitching for this series?
So even though this last series was rough, this 3-gamer, they actually didn't use the bullpen a ton. We still have 2 or 3 bullpen arms that the Fireflies have not seen. One of them, Chase Wallace, who was with the team last year. I'm interested to see what type of adjustments he made in the offseason. But I think the story with the starting rotation is that they're a very high-risk, high-reward rotation. The stuff is incredible. These are guys with pull-the-string curveballs. These are guys with mid-90s, upper 90s fastballs, but they're projects because they're younger. So we're going to see some incredible things, but we're also going to have our fair share of, oh, man, that was a really tough game.
John, as always, we appreciate it. Have yourself a nice week in Charleston. A lot worse places you can be for a week. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And we'll catch back up with you next Monday night right here on the Fireflies Report. We thank you very much, sir.
Sounds perfect. Thanks for having me, Phil and Chris.
Talk to you next week. All right, John Kosas, voice of the Columbia Fireflies of the Carolina League, and off to a 1-2 start. And as he mentioned, that Charleston team looks he mentioned they look really, really good, but they did not have the best weekend around the Carolina League. As I was checking the standings a moment ago, I think they got off to a 2-1 start, but so I can pull the standings back up here for.
Well, remember, Phil, this was the River Dogs team that lapped the field last year. Was won the division by what was it, 25 games or whatever it was. I remember us going through the minor league report throughout the back half of the season, and they were just rolling along. I mean, Tampa Bay's done a nice job taking over that franchise since your Yankees, I guess, awarded it over to them because when they restructured back in 2020. They changed over to an affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays.
It is Kannapolis leading the South Division. They're off to a 3-0 start. Augusta's 2-1. I don't think they're the Intimidators anymore, though. They used to be. Check and see. No. I think they changed their name. I might double check me on that. Augusta's 2-1. Charleston's 2-1. In the North, it's Carolina.
You're right.
At 3-0, and Salem at 3-0, and Fredericksburg at 2-1. Yeah, what are they now?
The Cannonballers. That's terrible.
No, really, I agree with you.
You're in the hometown of Dale Earnhardt Sr. That was the reason you were the Intimidators. That was such a great mascot.
Fantastic name. Fantastic name. I don't understand what why they did away with that, but they
don't
did.
Either.
All right, we'll come back with the recruiting report and a few comments from USC offensive line coach Greg Atkins. Tomorrow night, We'll hear from Shane Beamer, USC head coach. He's meeting with the media tomorrow to address things about his team coming off their major scrimmage of Saturday and looking ahead to their spring game on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. We'll be back in a moment.
The lady in black doesn't age.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to FutureScholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. FutureScholar.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
All right, let's give you the meaty, juicy recruiting report brought to you by Seawells, where, of course, you can get meaty, juicy food every day of the week, Monday through Friday, at their daily luncheon buffet. Chicken, ham, beef, pork, you name it. They've got it all, plus all the vegetables. I've seen green beans. I've seen cauliflower. I've seen broccoli. And I've seen other good things like macaroni and cheese. And
not a vegetable.
No, but it's still good. Mashed potatoes and gravy. Still good, whether it's a vegetable or not. So make plans to get to the daily luncheon buffet, 11 to 2, Monday through Friday. And, of course, for the very best in the catering business, that too. That is Seawells, 803-771-7385, SeawellsCateringSC.com. They are busy. They are busy doing major catering stuff now. So if you got something in the works, some kind of a reception or a party or a corporate outing, make sure you give them a call for that. 803-771-7385 is the number. So I talked with Hayden Brown today, the former Citadel standout, who's in the transfer portal, John, out of Burns High School. Took his official to USC over the weekend. It went fantastic. This is an interesting deal because, you know, he played 5 years at the Citadel. So Lamont Paris and his staff have coached against him 9 times during his career. They faced him. So he knows about how they scheme against him, but now he knows how they would scheme with him. Suffice to say, he had a great visit. Really liked the coaches, enjoyed meeting him. Loved the facilities, the town, everything about it. Just seems like a real good situation, he said. So they all seem real, and they bought into the assistants, bought into what Coach Paris is and what he brings as a coach, according to Brown. So really enjoyed his visit, really liked it. Got some numbers here. The Citadel against Paris with Brown. Brown, in his career, averaged 10.3 points and 6.4 rebounds per game against Chattanooga alone. 2 seasons ago, in a game against the Mocs, he had 37 points and 13 rebounds. So Lamont Paris knows he's a good player.
He's a really outstanding player. He really is. I got a chance. Coastal played them. I actually scrimmaged them back before the season began, and I just got a glimpse of his ability. Really athletic and a darn good player. If South Carolina can land him, I think that'd be a good get for them.
Well, he's been to Loyola Chicago on an official, and he's going to Georgia Tech a week from today. And then he'll take whatever time he needs to make his decision. Clemson offered 2023 6'3" Solomon Ball, Sharpsburg, Maryland. Oregon offered 6'10" G.G. Jackson of Ridgeview. I look for some announcement from him next week, I would think. Former USC forward Wildens Levesque committed to Frank Martin and UMass. College of Charleston signed guard Ryan Larson, grad transfer from Wofford, averaged about 9 points per game this season. According to portal updates, former USC guard Jermaine Kuznars cut his list to DePaul, Oregon, Maryland, UMass, Houston, Ohio State, and Gonzaga. Seneca native and former College of Charleston guard Brevin Galloway is in the portal, John, on his way out of Boston College. I'd keep an eye on him with Clemson. I mean, that's home. I'd keep an eye on that. South Carolina State guard TJ Madlock's in the portal. Of course, his dad's now was the coach of the Bulldogs. He's now at Alabama State. He averaged about 13 points per game last season. Coastal Carolina's Rudy Williams is in the transfer portal, John. How'd you let that happen?
A big loss for Coastal. He was outstanding for them. Really good scorer. Transferred in from Kansas State. Played a year with the Chanticleers. Actually led them along with Vince Cole in the throughout the conference season. Somebody's going to get a really, really good score in Rudy Williams.
15 points, about 4 rebounds per game. Now on to football. Clemson offered offensive tackle Ian Reed, 6'5", 310 of Austin, Texas. He was in over the weekend. This was a dream offer for him. Said he grew up loving Clemson, following Clemson. His first exposure, he said, when he was in like the 3rd grade, he watched a USC Clemson game on television. And from that moment on, he's been a big Clemson guy. And so he grew into a big guy at 6'5", 310, and Clemson really likes him, et cetera, et cetera. He had a really good visit. And he's going to come back for an official visit probably that first weekend in June. He's been to Texas twice. He lives about a half hour from the campus. He's also been to TCU, Baylor, Texas A&M, and North Texas. He also has offers from NC State, Kansas, Southern Cal, Duke, Texas Tech, Michigan State, Colorado, Cal, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Tennessee, and Alabama. And he comes from the same town, Austin, Texas, as Cade Klubnik, but they played against each other. So they weren't necessarily friends. They did meet in the playoffs last season. But Clemson looks to have a pretty good shot here. He will visit Ohio State on Tuesday, hoping to get an offer from the Buckeyes. South Carolina had in for a visit on Saturday defensive end A.J. Hoffler, 6'5", 245 of Atlanta. That was his first with the Gamecocks. And he said it went much better than he thought it was going to be. Really loved everything about the program, had never seen the facilities. He said he'd been to Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State, and he said the facilities are right up there with all of them, if not better than some of them in certain aspects. He really liked the business school, said it was the best he's ever seen. Impressed with the coaching staff, liked what they're doing at South Carolina. Enjoyed meeting with Shane Beamer and talking with him, and Sterling Lucas and talking with him. They like his pass rushing ability. They like the fact that he moves around really well for a guy his size, and he's already pretty well put together, so could step in and probably play some right away. So he's going to Clemson today. He was supposed to go to Clemson on Friday, changed that visit, and went to Clemson today. Said Clemson's recruiting him really hard, and they're probably in his top 2 with Ohio State right now at this particular point. And he does not have a definite decision date in mind, though he'd like to make his commitment prior to his birthday, which is August the 9th. He's also been to Ohio State, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. He plans to go to Kansas State for the spring game. His brother plays for the Wildcats. Clemson quarterback target, Christopher Vizina, going to announce tomorrow at 4:15. He was at Clemson twice last week, including the spring game, Notre Dame, Auburn, Ole Miss, Ohio State, and Georgia, the others he's considered. Clemson offered tight end Jelani Thurman, 6'5", 230, Fairburn, Georgia, son of former Georgia NFL linebacker Odell Thurman. USC's among his other many offers. Clemson also has offered today defensive tackle Jamal Jarrett of Greensboro, North Carolina. He's a really large defensive tackle. Athlete Ahmad Brown of Cordele, Georgia, 6'1", 195, was offered by Clemson. He can play quarterback, running back, defensive back. 2024 defensive tackle Heaven Brown Schuler was offered by Clemson while in for the spring game. USC offered 2025 running back Donovan Johnson of Savannah. Safety Cameron Upshaw has USC on his shortened list of 14.
That's his short list.
Saving time by not naming them all. But South Carolina's on the list. USC offered offensive tackle Paul Mubinga, 6'4", 280, Buford, Georgia. Offensive guard Ethan Fields, 6'5", 315, Geismar, Louisiana, plans to visit USC for the spring game on Saturday. 2025 receiver C.J. Wiley, Alpharetta, Georgia, was at USC over the weekend. 2024 receiver Jordan Shipp of Charlotte plans to visit USC tomorrow. USC target safety Caleb Woodson was at Virginia Tech over the weekend. 2024 receiver Mario Bennett of Greenville went to Miami over the weekend, was offered. 2025 quarterback Gavin Owens of Wren plans to visit Florida State tomorrow. Clemson USC target linebacker Tony Rojas was at Miami today. River Bluff receiver Apollos Cook was offered by Mercer. Running back Ja'Shawn Anderson of Hartsville was at Tennessee Saturday. Sumter defensive end Montague Rames was at Alabama over the weekend. Running back Logan Coldren of Hillcrest was at Alabama Saturday. Clemson target safety Braxton Myers was at Arkansas over the weekend. Clemson target safety Caleb Downs was at Ohio State over the weekend. USC target linebacker Pup Howard was at Florida over the weekend. And one time, Clemson target, the guy they really wanted first at running back, but never really could get a foothold with him, Richard Young. He's the guy down there in Florida that looks like a man. I mean, you look at pictures of him, and this guy's already full grown, and he's just going to be a senior. He named a top 7, Texas A&M, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Florida. That, my friends, is our meaty, juicy, delicious recruiting report for tonight.
Well done. That was
No,
well
it wasn't
done.
well done. It was medium rare.
Medium rare?
Yeah.
Like you like your roast beef Fridays.
Got to be bleeding. I don't like it
I'm
dry.
impressed.
Do not like it
gosh,
dry.
no.
Yeah. So I will take you to Seawells. I do owe you a meal.
I can't. I got to thinking about this earlier in the week, over the weekend rather, and it's almost like you taking PC straight up against Clemson in football. It's just unfair. That was such an easy bet to win. Technically, it hurts my heart.
Technically, he didn't win the tournament, but like I said, he won the hearts of men and women and children everywhere. Doesn't that
Jim
count
Nance.
for something?
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. I read this. I didn't see it, but I read that, there wasn't a lot of suspense there at the end. So Mr. Golf was kind of without any sort of statement when, and it didn't help that he messed around on the 18th green with what, a 4-putt?
Yeah, I saw a GIF or GIF, whichever it is, from Happy Gilmore. You remember when he's at the comedy movie with Adam Sandler where he's learning to play golf, but he's a hockey guy.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to putt it around the hole, and it keeps missing, and he finally leans down and says, "Go in your hole." That had to be how Scotty Scheffler felt. Because, fortunately for him, he had, a 5-shot lead.
Right.
So it was not a big deal. But I was thinking, good grief, are you going to cost yourself? Is Rory McIlroy going to win just because you can't make a 3-foot putt?
Yeah,
Twice.
it's he had some strokes to play with there. But, of course,
no doubt.
you want to go out in style. You don't want to go out all messy on the 18th green.
Oh,
but, they handled it well, and he just expressed that great relief, and the fans gave him a great roar when he finally knocked it in the hole. So a little levity there at the end. Okay, tomorrow, Shane Beamer, we'll hear from him on the program. Kerry Tharp will be here talking more about Darlington and their race coming up in May. And we may have another surprise or two for you as well. We will get to that Greg Atkins audio, maybe tomorrow as well. It's pretty good stuff, him talking about his offensive line. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.